everyone, welcome back. My name is Matt and today we're taking a look at my first impressions of the new Pixel lineup. So I have the Pixel 9 Pro XL here, but Google kindly invited me to their unveiling event here in Toronto. So I met a lot of creators there. I had such a good day, but we're gonna discuss some of the devices that were unveiled, pretty much focusing mainly on the smartphones, but obviously they did unveil the new Pixel Watch 3 and also the Pixel Buds Pro 2. So I will be covering those at the end of this video, but primarily we'll be talking about the phones. I've always felt that the hardware of the Pixel was always one step behind all the other flagships, and the software was basically one step ahead because Google is the first to launch the latest version of Android and all the new features. So I felt like that kind of made up for the lack of hardware, and I definitely feel like Google nailed it this year. So let's talk about the devices. So the first device I got my hands on was the Pixel 9. This prices in at $799 US. You get a 6.3-inch display with the new design with the flat matte metal sides and the glossy back. It seems to be a common thing that the cheaper version of the phones tend to have a glossy back. The Pixel 9 series comes in two new colors. You have winter green and peony, which is a type of pink. So this year we didn't just get one Pro phone like normal. Google actually brought out two phones in different sizes. So we have the Pixel 9 Pro, which prices in at $999, and we also have the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is the size that we're used to from last year's Pixel 8 Pro and the phone before that. Google normally would make the Pro phone bigger, but this year you have the option in case you want a smaller device with all the Pro features, which is super nice to see. And it doesn't look like there's any sacrifice. We've got pretty much an identical phone just with a smaller display and a smaller battery, but also a smaller price tag. The Pro phones have a bit more RAM, they've got the telephoto cameras, and they've got a better display. But other than that, things are fairly close to the standard Pixel 9. So it's got the same chipset, the new Tensor G4 chip, as well as the same camera sensor in the main as well as ultra wide lens. On the Pro phones, we also get two new colors. We have hazel as well as rose quartz, which is just kind of like a pinky color. Hazel is like a gray, browny, green color. I personally quite like it, but I got the black model just because I feel like black is always stealthy. I only got a couple hours at the event to go around and use all the devices, so I didn't have much time to nitpick and go into the fine settings, but just picking up all of these phones, I must say, they really do feel like flagships this year. They're a little bit heavier in the hand, but not too heavy. They're still fairly lightweight. There's definitely more thought that went into the build quality, because the feel in hand is excellent this year. Of course, they have the new boxy design. Some people may like it, some people may not. First impressions though, it's not sharp. It's actually very comfortable in your hand. Even though it is boxy, they did kind of round off the edges. So it feels really good when you're holding it. And obviously the camera bar in the back, they have changed that. They've now made it this kind of island. So instead of going full across the back of the phone like a visor, yeah, it now just pops out like this little island here. I kind of like it. I think it looks a bit better than last year, but again, it is personal preference. On the standard Pixel 9 series, you're looking at 2700 nits, and on the Pixel 9 Pro and XL, you're looking at 3000 nits of peak brightness, which is just crazy. Underneath that display, you also now have an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, so no more optical scanner. Now it's gonna be much faster, I'm assuming. It's gonna be more accurate, but obviously I will have to test it over time to see. I did play around with the camera and take some pictures at the event, but I'm not allowed to show off the image quality or any of the files yet, so you'll have to wait till later on till I reveal those. But first impressions of just looking at the camera on the back, some of the openings look a bit larger, so hopefully it's a bigger sensor, more light, more depth of field, things like that. But again, I'm gonna have to play around and test it and see for real how good the camera quality is, and I will be doing comparisons with the 8 Pro as well as my iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, Google announced at their event the new G4 chip inside of here is 17% faster at app launches and 20% faster when you're in the web browser. And I completely believe them. This thing is very fast, it feels great to use, it's fluid. I really appreciate how Google stepped up the hardware on this phone, but of course, there was a lot of software announcements in terms of all the new AI features that Google has to offer, and some of them are crazy, so let's talk about them. So the first one is the new improved weather app on the Pixel phone. It's just a really great UI. It just looks really clean, really pixely, and a bit more up to date. And you also have all of this information down below, all these widgets that you can reorganize telling you details about the weather. So yeah, I personally think it's a nice addition, but it's nothing crazy to like, get excited about. There's also a new screenshots app. So whenever you take a screenshot on your device, it will organize it using AI inside the app. So you can go ahead and search through all the screenshots. They also brought out a new studio app where you can generate images in real time without internet connection on your Pixel, which is pretty awesome. And they also updated the magic editor. So now you have this reimagine mode where you can not only remove objects in the frame, but you can select them and change them with a text prompt. So basically like generative fill, you can change the grass or change the sky just by typing in a query inside the Photos app, which is a really good feature. I definitely feel like I'll be trying it out, but it puts into question like, what is a picture? Because like I'm a photographer, and knowing that like almost everyone now is just using AI to manipulate images, I really don't even know what it means to like take a picture anymore. Google also added this new add me mode. So whenever you go on a trip, like you're the one taking the picture and you never get in the shots, well, you don't actually have that anymore, because now you can take the shot of the group, swap person, so someone can come out the group, hold the camera, and you can join the group, and then they can take the second shot and it will merge them together so that you're in the group picture. That's actually a really useful feature. Most of the pictures I look at, like, my dad's not in it or I'm not in it, it's difficult to get everyone in the shot because someone needs to hold the camera. So I actually think this is a pretty cool feature and I'm really excited to try it out. I haven't tried it yet, but I did see some demos at the Google event and it looks super promising. You also have call notes, which records and summarizes all of your calls so that both parties can read back and see like a condensed list of everything discussed. And you have Gemini Live, so you can have live conversations with Gemini on the Pixel. And if you do buy the new Pro Series Pixel, you also get like 2 terabytes of cloud storage and you get 1 year access of like the Pro version of Gemini. So I'm really excited to dive in and play around with that. But other than software, there was also that kind of one more thing, which is the new Pixel Fold. So this year they didn't call it the Pixel Fold 2 because it's a very different device with different screen ratios and a much improved inner display. So this year, the foldable is called the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which kind of makes sense because it's like a Pixel 9 Pro when closed. You have a 6.3-inch display, and I still feel like this is my favorite form of a foldable because Samsungs are just narrow and tall and it's hard to use one-handed, but I feel like the outer screen is the perfect size, and then when you unfold it, you have this 8-inch square kind of ratio display, which is perfect for content consumption as well as multitasking. One big change this year is the screens are now 80% brighter than last year, which is a big step up. And also the bezels are now much thinner inside. So last year it kind of felt like a picture frame or something. The whole phone overall just feels more like a flagship and it better suits the price tag. Unfolded, this phone is really thin. So when closed, it's also a pretty thin device, just slightly thicker than the Pixel 9 Pro. It doesn't have the water resistant rating like on the Pro Series phones, it's only IPX8. But apart from that, it's got the same specs as the Pro phones. It's got the G4 chip, it's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. It has a slightly different camera sensor, so I'm actually curious to sort of play around with it and see how different it is to the Pro XL. But of course, there were some other things unveiled at the event, like the Pixel Watch 3, which now comes in 2 sizes, 41mm, which was the standard size before, and now a new larger device, which is 45mm. So I have a really chunky wrist, so I definitely feel like the bigger watch would be beneficial for people like me. So anyone out there with chunky wrists, the Pixel Watch previously just looked like a toy. So now I feel like with that bigger form factor, better battery life, it's going to be actually a real big upgrade for some. The price is $349 for the small or $399 for the larger model. And finally, they also unveiled the new Pixel Buds Pro 2, which are similar looking to the Pixel Buds 1, but now they are a smaller form factor. You've got the Gemini Live features packed in. You've got better battery life, better sound quality. Overall, they're just an upgraded version, but they actually look really comfortable. I'm super curious to try them out because my ears are pretty small. And the previous buds were quite chunky in my ears, so I found them uncomfortable over time. But these new ones, they actually look so much smaller, like they'd be so much more comfortable in my ears specifically. So yeah, I'll definitely have to get my hands on those but I will be doing like a full first impressions kind of review with this, as well as a day in the life. I'll be doing a lot of content on this phone specifically. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that was unveiled at the Google event. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know which device you're going for, what was your favorite thing at the event, or if there's anything that kind of disappointed you. I'm super curious, so let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.